They have no conception of the craftsmanship that's required to take a good idea and turn it into a good product. And they really have no feeling in their hearts, usually, about wanting to really help the customers.
Good morning, guys. It's Palps back with another one. Hope you're doing fantastic. Yeah, I got a lot to talk about today. First off, I want everyone to take a moment and think back. Let's envision something together. It's September 2007. Your buddy invites you over. It's a Friday night. You just got out of school. He's like, "Bro, I got the new Halo 3 game. My mom's picking up Papa John's. We got hella soda. We got Gushers and fruit roll-ups in the pantry. It's going down." You're excited. You're pumped. You go over there and you can play for hours, man. Say it's 2007 and World of Warcraft Burning Crusade comes out. You and the boys, you about to go down. You about to play hella video games till the sun comes up. You got snacks. You're degenerates. You don't have school that weekend, or maybe you do have school and you're in there playing while your mom's asleep just so she doesn't know. I know I did shit like that, but man, those were good times. And Assassin's Creed was coming out. You had posters coming out from this new mysterious game, Skyrim, that was going to come out in a few years. Gaming was good and it was popping, and everyone was excited about it. Fast forward to now, and man, it sucks. The gaming industry sucks. So today I want to talk to you about not just nostalgia. Yeah, it's fun to look back and say it was better when I was younger, but we can all agree now that the gaming industry has just turned to dog shit. And let's be real, it just has. I don't know how many uh I don't know how many more, videos I can watch of just the decline of gaming, but because they're just so true and it hurts every time I watch them. So, of course, I'm going to make my own. It's a result of corporatization of video games. I mean, when it comes down to it, profits drive everything. And we're in a situation where, say, just as an example, say you have 500 people playing a video game and you put in a bunch of predatory microtransactions and game enhancing pay to win mechanics. Say you have those 500 players on your video game and 450 of them quit because they don't want to deal with it, or they're tired. Maybe the integrity of their game was sacrificed and they're pissed off about it. That's happened with World of Warcraft. And so 450 people quit and you're left with just 50 players. Well, those 50 players who are paying for microtransactions and pay to win mechanics, that profit, what's crazy is that small percent of people who stick around and pay for it still is more than what they were making pre microtransactions without that. Now, of course, that's just like a random number I'm throwing at, but if you look up some figures, it's pretty similar to that, just because the profit's crazy. So the gaming industry is a multi-billion-dollar industry, and people have found this cheat code. Corporations have found this cheat code of how to turn even more profits every year. So why would they want to make good quality games and make you happy and put a lot of effort and blood, sweat, and tears into a game when there's no point? There's no point. They can just make money doing the least amount of effort. I mean, the video game industry, was one of the largest beneficiaries of the pandemic. So many people from home were playing, and I think that was, I mean, personally, I think that was somewhat of a fluke. I think that definitely more people were playing during the pandemic because there wasn't anything else to do, but I don't think it was because of like good quality games. It's people didn't have anything else to do. People say the growth won't be as explosive in the coming years, but they still think it's going to go to like 219 billion by 2024. Here, let me look up some stuff. Yeah, I mean, a study says that the gaming industry is around 201 billion in 2021, and they think it's going to gain 435 billion by 2028. So the gaming market is going to grow by 12.1% in those 6 years. And I guarantee you that's not going to be off of well thought out games that have love put into them. So it's super sad to see. But yeah, so the gaming industry is slave to profits, for sure. Let's go through the list of things that are going wrong. We're in a world of remasters and remakes of games. We all know that because that's the easy way of making money and the least amount of effort. It's very similar in the movie industry. Everyone's doing remakes or sequels, or there's no original stories. It's all like comic book stories and things like that. And it's just a low effort strategy. Predatory actions. I mean, there was that whole, they got the freaking Senate involved with the, what was it, with EA, with the predatory loot boxes and like child gambling. Like, it's out there. It's crazy. But I don't want this to be conflated with just nostalgia. I know we all had some great times gaming as kids, but there's just more to it than that. And I know I'm an aging millennial, but I don't think it's one of those things where actually I'm just getting old and not with the times. So, I mean, I have an article up here and it's talking about basically a decline in gaming consoles and other traditional ways of gaming because the hardcore narrative of gamers is is a dying breed, I guess, or something that they're trying to say. It's actually hilarious. It's an Insider Intelligence article, and talking about the emergence of mobile gaming. And I mean, any person knows that the hardcore gamer is still existing. It's just there's no hardcore games being released. And mobile games are, of course, always going to be more popular because everyone has a cell phone. So everyone's got some sort of game installed on their phone that they never play or they do play. And even those people who don't play it are registered as a mobile gamer because they have downloaded that product. So to say that there's a decline to console gaming or PC gaming is just kind of funny because their stats, they're going off of cell phones, which everyone has, and the convenience of mobile technology. So they're going to prioritize more towards there. Candy Crush. Candy Crush has created levels that get increasingly more difficult. So the satisfaction when you complete it is really great. And that's a great game premise. That's like the foundation of games. But they've also made it so you can't progress. So you're incentivized to pay to skip that level or to progress. Yeah, I mean, they're saying like only 29% of US gamers play video games on desktop or laptop or console, which may be true, but I mean, we're comparing it to a larger statistic of people who have mobile devices. And it says here they're trying to appeal to the casual gamer, so whatever. So a few games that we all know and gaming companies that we all know and love that have kind of fallen from grace. I mean, we have Valve with Dota 2. That was great, but you can't ride on the coattails of Dota 2 or Portal forever. How many years has it been since they released original title? Bethesda, Skyrim, how long did they milk that? I mean, Jesus. Then Fallout 76 was just a awkward experience with how just riddled with just errors and microtransactions and just a embarrassing show. And I love the bad publicity they got for it, but it was really disconcerting how they never really owned up to it. They had like a bunch of half apologies, if you remember correctly. Todd Howard had a few things to say. And I mean, one of my favorite gaming companies used to be Blizzard. I've played World of Warcraft since vanilla and private servers and everything in between. Still play Classic. I haven't touched the new expansion since I dabbled a bit in the BFA, but I didn't even try Shadowlands. It was so stupid. And now they've already announced their next expansion this year. I don't know how they're going to do that in 6 months, but we'll see. But yeah, I mean, reselling old games and just letting people down, like Diablo. Yeah, and we all see how bad Diablo Immortal is. I mean, geez, what's it, $500,000 to max out your character? And other games like Madden, microtransactions, Battlefield, Bungie, Black Ops. It got so bad. Like I said, the Senate had to get involved, which is just terrible. But a lot of investors are ruining the industry because it comes down to the corporations. Company execs are incentivized to take short term risks for highest profit, even though that's not sustainable. And it's pretty self destructive in the long term because it's not aligned with the best interest of the consumer. And so you have basically all these companies have to go to their shareholders and be like, hey, we turned a profit doing this method, and say that involves creating a really good game. And they're like, oh, okay, great. That took a lot of money and effort, we see, to do this. How come blah, blah, blah is turned this much profit this year? A competitor is something. It's like, well, they do those microtransactions. Well, we should maybe try and incorporate those into your games and stuff. And you can see how basically legally you have to appeal to your shareholders and also always take the method that's going to be the most lucrative, or else you always have to appeal to the shareholder and turn what's going to be a profit. So if you're going the direction that's not going to be a profit, all these fat cats in suits, they're not going to understand why you want a heartfelt game that has beautiful effort put into the story, the art, the combat, whatever. If you explain why that's going to cost more money and be less profit next year, they're going to look at you like you're an idiot. So why would you want to do that? An example of a game that I swear they only did well because they're just so naive and fledgling and aren't a public company and are tiny, but it's Valheim. What's that? Stone, Valheim. Yeah, Iron Gate Studios. It's like 3 guys. And by passion and love, they created a game that was incomplete and still better than any game out there, and it swept the world with popularity. And it's an incomplete game, but the only reason it did well is because these 3 dudes had a vision, they had a story, they had love and passion, and they didn't even have great graphics, but the story and effort put into it was shining through and made it a lovely experience. And the only reason, bless their heart, is they don't have shareholders to appeal to. They are only in it for the passion, and that goes to show why it was so successful. So I think a big issue with the gaming industry is going to be the attempt to convince shareholders and people how passion, effort, love for the game, love for the process, that design process, can actually make a game far more profitable than these short-term money grabs that aren't sustainable. I mean, you see Blizzard and EA and to some degree Bethesda, they got some good titles coming out, it looks like, but it's really slow and they've had a checkered past. But you see these corporations, and it's like a train on fire going 300 miles down, an hour down the track, and there's a cliff, and they're just racing across there. And I mean, it's just bad publication. At least if you're a gamer and you pay attention to this, we all see um, this horrible publicity and things happening, like the Diablo Immortal stuff, and we are on Reddit joking about it. But I mean, we see our favorite companies, and it looks like they're just going breakneck speeds to their death, and they just keep never failing to release and have horrible publicity moments with the gamers, and keep releasing bad titles and remasters and money hungry tactics and microtransactions. And I don't know how much longer this can last, because we all see this happening, and yet they're still going. And it's hard to wrap your head around it, because I don't know how much longer that can happen before who's going to be playing the game anymore. I guess it'd just be a younger demographic of people who are stealing their mom's card, but I know I'm not going to be playing it. Does that mean I'm just not going to be a gamer anymore because there's no good games coming out? Maybe I'll just have to like drift to the indie gaming scene, like we're creators of Valheim, what they're doing. But I don't know how sustainable it can be at this point for these gaming companies, because it's becoming a really long track list of crappy games and low effort, and I don't really know how much longer that can last. I think another issue is I'm going to show a video actually, which I think is the best synopsis of what's happening in the gaming industry. And I know, people like Asmongold and the Act Man, but like people have always referenced this Steve Jobs interview, which is so funny because it's from like the early 90s or whatever, and it is the dangers of the marketing team taking power from the actual developers and like people who well, we'll just watch the video, but it's the best synopsis I can think of.
Well, what happens is, like with John Scully, John came from PepsiCo, and they at most would change their product, once every 10 years. I mean, to them, a new product was like a new size bottle, right? So if you were a product person, you couldn't change the course of that company very much. So who influenced the success of PepsiCo? The sales and marketing people. Therefore, they were the ones that got promoted, and therefore they were the ones that ran the company. Well, for PepsiCo, that might have been okay, but it turns out the same thing can happen in technology companies that get monopolies, like, IBM and Xerox. If you were a product person at IBM or Xerox, so you make a better copy or a better computer. So what? When you have a monopoly market share, the company's not any more successful. So the people that can make the company more successful are sales and marketing people. And they end up running the companies. And the product people get driven out of the decision-making forums. And the companies forget what it means to make great products. Sort of the product sensibility and the product genius that brought them to that monopolistic position gets rotted out by people running these companies who have no conception of a good product versus a bad product. They have no conception of the craftsmanship that's required to take a good idea and turn it into a good product. And they really have no feeling in their hearts, usually, about wanting to really help the customers. So that's what happened at Xerox. The people at Xerox PARC used to call the people that ran Xerox toner heads. And these toner heads would come out to Xerox PARC, and they just had no clue about what they were seeing.
And for our audience, toner is what?
Oh, toner is what you put into a copier. Yeah, the toner that you add to an industrial copier.
The black stuff.
The black stuff, yeah. So basically they were copier heads that just had no clue about a computer or what it could do. And so they just grabbed defeat from the greatest victory in the computer industry. Xerox could have owned the entire computer industry today. Could have been, a company 10 times its size. Could have been IBM. Could have been the IBM of the 90s. Could have been the Microsoft of the 90s. So, but anyway, that's all ancient history. It doesn't really matter anymore.
Sure.
Yeah, I mean, that's so succinct. That's so well put. You have these gaming corporations where these people come together with a vision to create a game they love, they're passionate about, and they create a wonderful product. It's a lot of effort, could take years and months, and there comes a point where they've created a super great game and they're just waiting to make the next one. So there's nothing else for them to do. And the marketing team comes in and, like he says, ultimately takes control. What's the marketing strategy? Loot boxes, crazy skins, cool, superficial, aesthetic things, new cinematics to entice you, different things like that. And it becomes less and less about the original vision of your product, the foundation and core of which your game studio was built, and your dedication to deliver full, intact, love-created product that is going to be a hit. I think we see the disintegration of that, and the marketing teams just absolutely run these games. We see these crazy marketing campaigns, and that's absolutely it. I mean, I just love this at all. But anyway, that's just kind of my rant. I think this Steve Jobs video should be basically plastered everywhere because it's just such an incredible synopsis of what's happening a lot. I don't even think in the gaming industry, but it's so spot on here. So yeah. Well, anyway, hope you liked it, guys. Let's keep some faith. Hopefully, there's going to be more and more emergent games out there. One I'm particularly excited about is Ashes of Creation, because we have a scenario where Stephen Sharif, a gamer, is pissed off with MMOs this day and age, and he's luckily just a Tony Stark rich dude who's like, I'm just going to pay for it myself. He got a Kickstarter, and he's even like, I don't need your money. I'm going to create a great game, and we're not going to release it till it's perfect. And that's this dude's life mission. You're like, yeah, whatever. It's going to be, another Kickstarter bullshit scam. And you're like, oh, wait, he's paying for it himself. And then you're like, oh, he just started an LLC, a gaming company, Intrepid Studios. What? He has over 200 employees. Oh, he's in San Diego, California, with actual brick and mortar location. You're like, oh, he has a marketing team and he's releasing game updates every month, and it's actually looking good. So I think there's hope. Um, but I think what's going to happen is people like Steven Sharif, people like Iron Door, or what is it, Iron Gate Studios for Valheim, are going to be the ones who are going to end up surpassing all these other corporations while they crash and burn, because I don't see a sustainable future for them. So anyway, um, yeah, leave a comment, like, subscribe. Thank you so much, guys. Have a great weekend. I'll talk to you later. Bye.